thanks so much for being here. How about another round of applause for Rick and Jane? Beautiful. One of my favorite things about traveling and playing music is hearing musicians from other cities, and just like revelatory every time. It's just like all over the country. It's like, oh wow, there's like so many amazing musicians making amazing music. It's so inspiring. So thank you again, Rick and Jane, for playing. It really was just special. And also thank you to Eli, who's in the back there, for putting this all together here at the We're really lucky that people like Eli are around, presenting music out of the goodness of their hearts. It's like really a special thing, and I'm so tremendously grateful. If you could please join me in welcoming two of my dear friends here. This is Andy Peck on the double bass. And on the drums, this is Jonathan Barahal Taylor. We're going to play some different music tonight. A lot of it comes from a record we just put out called Kyūdō. Some of it comes not from there at all. And we're going to try some different things tonight. But really, we appreciate your listening ears, and thanks for taking this trip with us. was kind of based on a composition I wrote called Never From Above. That was written about a festival in Shimoda, Japan, that I used to attend every year from 1997 until 2015. Every August I would go to Japan to visit my grandmother, and there was a summer festival there, which they call a Natsumatsuri, which means summer festival. But at the summer festival, it's kind of like it's the biggest party of the year. There's a lot going on, but the kind of premise of the festival, it's a Shinto festival, and there are these miniature shrines that they call mikoshi, and you can see these if you've ever been to Japan or if you plan on going. They have these kind of festivals all over Japan, but there are these small shrines called mikoshi, which are like kind of replicas of different shrines throughout Japan, and they each weigh like 1,000 pounds or something wild like that. And so all the men in the town, they get together at like 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe even earlier than that, for 3 days out of the year. And there's about 12 of these 1,000-pound shrines. There's 12 of these kind of pieces of a bridge, these like wooden pieces of a bridge that are also heavier than anything. And they march through the town to every corner of this kind of small fishing village. And the premise is that they bless each corner of the town with kind of like the power and the blessings of the many gods in the Shinto religion, and so they kind of spend the 3 days going and kind of ridding all the demons that might have gotten out throughout the year, and everyone comes out and celebrates. And you might be thinking like, okay, these like 1,000-pound shrines, how are these men carrying it? And so it's the answer in this village is beer. They start drinking beer early in the morning to get through it. But when I was a kid, I loved the festival. I should add my grandfather, who passed away in 1985. He was the kind of leader of this festival for 20 years, so it kind of keeps a special place in our family. And I loved going because there was like great food, and kind of great party, right? Everyone's hanging out. Even as a little one, I was like, oh, I can't wait to drink beer like those guys one day, And as they would walk through the town, there's kind of a parade that leads the processional as they go to each side of the town. And that parade would consist of taiko drummers, and so there'd kind of be like two large taiko drummers, two small taiko drummers, and they would get pulled together on like a wagon by all the children in the town. So the children kind of pull this wagon through all these like moving streets. It's heavy, so their parents help them. And behind the taiko, there are these shamisen players, which is what my mom played her whole life. And shamisen is like, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like a Japanese banjo, banjo type plucked instrument, right? And then there are fue players, fue is like the Japanese word for flute, kind of like the old Japanese word for flute. So they have a bunch of different flutes. So it's like taiko, shamisen, and flute. And so during those 3 days, it's like all day you hear, all these songs from these instruments going around the village, right? And like the first hour, you're like, oh, that's really nice. And then like about like 8 o'clock, you're like, they're still going out there, aren't they? They're still playing, right? But the music's really not the part, that would kind of stick in my ear. As the men would carry these big shrines throughout the town, they kind of had like a chant that they would say like sailors, like yo ho, right? But what they say is, you'll hear this in all the festivals in Japan, is they say hoya. They say hoya, 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 hoya. And again, first hour, they're like, oh cool, they're outside. Hoya, hoya. You run outside and you say, oh, the festival's here. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You're trying to get to bed. And it just doesn't end. So it's kind of like this like ever-present thing, right? So this memory is kind of like burned in my psyche, as like this feeling of being, in where I was born and where my family is from, at least on my mother's side, and it's something really, really special to me. And so in playing this piece, it's kind of based, not to give you the full dissertation, but it's based on 4 parts. There's kind of the first part, which is this, is kind of based on a taiko drum chant, drum rhythm, kind of loosely. So that's the first part of the parade. The second part is this fue part. The third part is the shamisen, which is like, I always think of the shamisen, it's like the guitar or something, it like kind of holds things together harmonically, right? And so this is kind of these chordal things we were playing. Maybe it'll become percussive at some point. And then last but not least, you probably heard the Hoya. So anyways, that's like a little brief deconstruction. Oh, and the name is the most important part. So the name of that piece is Never From Above, because when I was a kid, I would hear this festival roaming through the street. And I would be so excited, like 6 or 7 years old. Oh, they're coming. And my grandmother lived in a 3rd floor apartment building, kind of like near the middle of the downtown, and me and my brother and my mom, we'd be in the same room, watching. I remember like watching the Olympics. Speaking of the Olympics are this year, right? So I remember like those years we'd be up watching the Olympics, and we'd hear them coming from down the street, right? And I'd say, oh, I'd go to open the window, right? And then like I would feel this like ominous force, I'd say, what's, and it was my mom coming up behind me with a sandal ready to hit me, and she'd go, never from above, never from above. And I was like, as a kid, what are you talking about? And it's this kind of thing that I still hear that never from above. Even saying it out loud, I'm like, oh man, that's sandal. But it's the idea that if you open the window and you look down at the shrines, the gods are carried in these shrines as they're carried through the town. And so by looking down on them, you're exalting yourself as higher than those gods. And you're saying, I am the god now. My mom said, never from above, never from above. And so we would run down the stairs and go check out the festival in the town. So anyways, anything can inspire music, right? Some memories, whatever it is. Cool. I think we have time for another one, I hope. We're going to play another song. I don't know what it is yet, but again, thank you so much again for being here and for your listening ears, and thanks to Rick and Jane and Eli and the Jazz Gallery. It's, we're in the middle of a tour, and then I'll stop talking. I'm going to say one more thing. We started in Cleveland, Ohio. We're from kind of the Detroit area, so we started in Cleveland. We made our way to Windsor, Ontario, then we made our way to Ypsilanti, Michigan. Last night we played in Marquette, Michigan, and tonight we're here. Tomorrow we're in Rock Island, Illinois, and then we go back, we make like a triangle, we go to Chicago, and then we go to Minneapolis, So we're going to all these different places, and the thing that's really stuck out to me is like how, I almost like kind of can't believe it, that there are these, people and places and listeners who come out to support live music in 2024, it's like a really special thing, to be supporting something that you believe is meaningful, in these centers, these performing arts centers, these jazz clubs, whatever it is, it's like the fact that they're still around and like, really means the world to me, and so like we can't thank Eli and the Jazz Gallery and Rick and Jane and all of you for making the trip out here tonight to hear this music. So thank you again. One more time for Andy Peck. Jonathan Barahal Peck on the double bass. That's Jonathan Barahal Taylor on the drums. That was an Ornette Coleman composition called Chanting, one of my favorite melodies ever. And that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Eli. Thanks to Rick and James. If you'd like to support us on our endeavors, we have some CDs for sale. You know, some of that music, some other music. And thanks again. We really appreciate it. Have a good night.